Hello, and thank you for joining us for the sixth data analysis bootcamp class. This is a week that we're going to go over all of the data analysis tools that are available in Seaborn and really show you how to use them and when to use them. I think this is a really great class to save, not maybe as a cheat sheet, but save in a really organized place in your data folders on your computer or on the cloud, so that you can have easy access and really come here to reference for different ideas, many different ideas to do for your data analysis. And really the goal is not that you're going to come back to this to copy and paste. You're going to come back to this and use your fingers to help you remember. You're going to use your fingers really to build up these concepts, and so that you're comfortable doing these on your own. And the hope is that these reference materials would be faster than something like ChatGPT or Hugging GPT. Okay. So before we get started today, let's recap the mnemonics from the last class. Okay, so we discussed in the last class being at a wedding and us analyzing kind of not our own wedding, but us looking around and at all the people there, and us being able to tell now with our data analysis skills, analyzing the people, the data points, and being able to really see the relationships between these people. Are they in relationships? Are they not? And maybe determining a little bit who seems like a good partner for us to dance with, and then hopefully predicting who's not only a good partner but who would actually say yes when we ask them to dance. Okay. We also discussed and talked about variable selection, and kind of like my niece at the wedding who loves snacks and treats. She You want to get there before she does. You really want to spend some time in selecting, getting an idea of which of the key flavors, different cupcakes, different desserts that you would want, and get there before your niece does, right? So we really want to do that to help us save some time. We want to make sure that, we really focus on what's important to our analysis, and we're going to spend more time evaluating those because there's only so much time that we have in our days to go through these data analyses. Okay, especially when we have many features. We then discussed we wanted to focus or think about the strengthen the relationship, the direction of our bivariate analysis. Okay, so what is the core relationship of these two variables? Is it positive or negative? And how strong is that relationship? Is it very spread out, or is it really track something like a line? Is it very linearly related? Okay. We want to use this information to help us determine which are the key drivers. We're going to have a business problem, and we really want to understand one thing more than other things. So we really want to factor in what are the key drivers in that analysis. What's really going to bring home the most value for our business partners? What do they really need to understand about this data analysis? Okay. And now we've done a lot of bivariate analysis at this point. I want to eventually get to a point where we're starting to think of we understand our bivariate relationships, and so we can start to assume and think about the tertiary relationship. And we'll see some plots in later sections where we can really start to understand this. Okay, and so this is really important to understand. If this continuous variable is high, what does that mean for these other two? Do they act differently once it's high versus low? Or maybe another category, maybe bivariate relationships work different in a category, or one of the categories of your data set versus another. Really understanding that on a bivariate, multivariate relationship is kind of a natural next step to your analysis. Okay? And really understanding what's important as you build up to that will really guide you to where you would want to go and try to understand that analysis. Okay. We talked about how we get to correlation, which is usually the summary statistic that we use to start our analysis. But to get to understanding why we use correlation, we talked about variation, which really discusses how things move away from the mean and how things move on the other side, left and right, from the mean. Okay, and so we discussed variance so that we could understand how we get to covariance. And really that's, again, kind of thinking of how things move away from the mean, but how things are moving together. Or is one variable generally above the mean while the other one is as well? And, vice versa, they both negative together. And this would be a great metric for what we would like to understand. The problem is to get this covariance, we combined units of measurement. And that makes it a little bit confusing to understand things like you said I had 50 mouse chameleons versus 20 banana oranges. It's kind of like, okay, well, that it's pretty hard to do that comparison, right? So even if we understood really what 50 chameleons are, we have a hard time making comparisons with other metrics. So what we do is we take our covariance and we divide it by the standard deviation of the x and the y, and we get to correlation. So there's a simple metric between -1 and +1, and how tightly packed our variables are around that linear relationship. So are they generally positive or negative? And do they closely pack together? Are they a very tightly correlated relationship where one moves up and the other one moves up the same distance? Okay. We talked about really any summary statistic we have to be careful of because they can be a little bit confusing. Okay. And so here in this one, we want to just, correlation is no exception. It can hide a lot of things. It's a simple summary statistic, maybe not super simple anymore, but it's still a summary statistic and it can hide certain things. So we want to really supplement our correlation analysis with a simple visual inspection to understand, really, is there anything we're missing in this correlation metric? Okay. Things like outliers can have a large impact and distort our correlations, just like our Leaning Tower of Pisa here. You can see our outlier guy is really pulling it in, so it's now upright. We won't understand the true value of the relationship. Having this skew our relationship, having an outlier skew a relationship, so it looks like a stronger correlation than it actually is just as bad as it going the other way. We really want to understand the true nature of the relationship so that we're able to make and provide to our business partners solid information for them to make their decisions. Okay. It's great to recap those. I'll see you in the first section of our 6th data analysis bootcamp class. Okay, we'll show you how to do all these things and how we work with this stuff in Seaborn.